Coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin by way of Stone Mountain, Georgia. Birthed by the great state of South Carolina is the Bryant Land Country Podcast. Your place for any and everything in hunting, fishing, sports, and outdoor related, with heavy doses of randomness, guests, and an all-around good time. Here's your host, proud Gamecock, South Carolina forever, AB3.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining me for another great, spectacular, stupendous episode of the Bryant Land Country Podcast. I'm glad that you guys took the time to download the podcast. Thank you for all your support, all the love that you've been showing me for this podcast over the last few months. People, this is episode number 40. Episode number 40, man. And let me tell you, I know that sometimes it may not always live up to your expectations, but we try to put on a damn good podcast, and I'm very excited to be able to say, hey, in the first year of podcasting, we've knocked down 40 episodes. A lot of people, when they first start podcasting, they usually quit after about 12. Some don't even make it to 10. I mean, we've made it to 40. We're in October. We started in January. We've made it to the 10th month of the year. We've got 40 episodes of bad-ass hunting, fishing, ATV riding, outdoor, car, trucks, whatever you want. We got 40 episodes worth of content so far. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been supporting the podcast from day one. And for those that are continuing to support, make sure you continue to tell people about our podcast, rate and subscribe, rate and review, especially if you're on that Apple Podcast gimmick. Man, big shout out, big thank you to all of you, because without you guys, we would not be here or be successful.
Bryant Land.
Now, before we get into the guest this week, I want to do a little bit of mailbag. I haven't done mailbag in a few episodes here. You guys have been nice enough to either send me comments or questions either on Instagram at official Bryant Land, or send me email, or send me a message through Twitter or whatever. But I got some questions and I want to share them with you guys because maybe they'll help you out. You know, I've answered them personally. The people that have actually taken the time to send them to me, I've made sure that I answer them back. But maybe these questions can help you. So let's first start all the way up in South Dakota. On Instagram, Adam GC3 from South Dakota sent me a message and said, hey, hope your hunting season's going good. I got a question for you. Here in South Dakota, I've been using fixed broadheads under the impression that I won't have to worry about them failing or malfunctioning when I reach out to 50 plus yards. Being that you use expandables, what's the reliability behind them? Have you had any failures or flaws? I'm consider switching over so I can get that pinpoint accuracy and less wind deflection since this state blows, literally. And while I'm here, might as well ask you which ones you stand behind and which ones you'd steer away from. Thanks, Adam. Well, first of all, great name, Adam, up in South Dakota. Me, personally, when I first started bow hunting, I was using the NAP Hellraisers, great broadhead. When I was switched over to mechanical, I'm not going to lie, I switched over to mechanical because it's the mechanicals that I've used. When you take them out of the pack, those things fly true. They fly great. I know a lot of people say, well, that's just marketing junk, blah, 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 blah. The two brand expandables that I've used, I've never had a problem with as far as like the accuracy coming out. And I know a lot of guys are super anal about, like, you know, tuning their bow and all that kind of stuff. But for me personally, I've used the Swagger broadheads right out of the box. I've killed deer, hogs, and turkeys with those things. Never had a problem with them at all whatsoever. I have also tried shooting the no collar rage. I like those because they're easy. You just slide them back, put them down, and everything goes, pretty good. You don't have to worry about bands or shock collars or any of the things of that nature. So those are the two that I would use. I haven't tried much anything else because usually I'm a creature of once I find something, I kind of halfway stick with it. So I don't have one that I would say stay away from. But like I said, I've definitely killed with the Swackers. The no collar rage, I'm trying just because they're easy without the bands. And if you know anything about me, I like for things to be easy. So there you have it. Thanks for sending a note and listening to the podcast.
Bryant Land.
All right, here's another great message that I received from Dogman _34. It says, good morning. Love the page and everything it stands for. I'm into the great outdoors and I have a dream to have a foundation such as yours to promote hunting and fishing, family and friends here down in Virginia. I mostly dog hunt for deer and rabbits. I just started turkey hunting and learning the ways of those stubborn turkeys. Any advice on how you started showing your love for the outdoors? Also, what might be a great way I can get started? And I answered Dogman _34, and I told him, it's basically, hey man, just take your pictures, post your pictures, everything that you're doing. Content is king, and it's not really a buzzword. Any kind of pictures, any kind of video. It doesn't even have to be super, super high quality video to start. Even if you just got like an iPhone or whatever, take pictures, do blog posts like video, blog posts. But the key is to just get started. Put your content out there. There's with social media these days, it's so many people that you can reach, and you don't have to wait for like a TV show or anything of that nature. You can just get out and start doing it. I know me personally, I have no aspirations of being the next great TV hunter or anything like that. I take pictures of the stuff, that we do out on the land when I go hunting or, just out, enjoying the outdoors. But by no means am I trying to be, like I said, the next big, like, TV hunting star or anything like that. I do this podcast as an extension of my brand and to just be able to tell stories that otherwise, may not get told, or shed light on people who may not necessarily get the light focused on them. So, but if you're starting out and you want to start a brand or build a brand or something like that, man, I would just say take pictures, do your blog posts, do your video posts. Make sure, like I said, you just providing as much original content as possible and be authentic. Okay. There's only one you. So give the people you. Don't, come out and try to be, the Bone Collector or Blitz TV or any of those guys that are out, or Realtree. Come out, be yourself. People that I find the most entertaining, and to me, the people that are doing the best are people that are 100% authentic and 100% being themselves.
Bryant Land.
Now, the last thing I need to clear up before I get into our guest this week, one of my listeners, a lady goes by the name of Pamela on Instagram. She brought to my attention during the last podcast with J.A. Caldwell. We were talking about, deer size and score and whatnot. And I had mentioned that a couple seasons back, Jeff had killed two 130s, and she thought that that was the deer's weight. And so for anyone out there who may have kind of missed that, 130s is the score on a deer. There are two scoring systems, and Pope and Young, Boone and Crockett. I know that the minimum for Pope and Young, 125 for deer taken with archery, and then Boone and Crockett goes up from there. But those are scores of the deer antlers. You have to have it done by an official scorer out there, official license score. And if your deer that you killed is large enough by antler size, then your name can be in the books for the record size of deer that you killed. So when we were referring to 130s, those two deer that Jeff killed back a few years ago were scored in the 130s. I don't remember the exact score, but one was taken with a rifle, one was taken with a shotgun, one was taken with a rifle, one was taken with a bow, but they scored in the 130. So that's what we were referring to when we were talking about deer and deer scoring. Now, the guest for this week, thank you, first of all, one more time, thank you for everyone that has sent in questions. Thank you for everyone that has sent messages, whether it be via Instagram or Twitter or whatever the case, Facebook. Thank you. Keep those coming. I will definitely answer them, and I will read them on the podcast just so we can help others out there who may have similar questions to yours. So thank you again for that. Now, the guest this week brings me back to Cliff Cadet from episode 13, Urban Archery NYC. If you go back and you listen to that episode, Cliff is starting to get out and bow hunt. He's got his license, he's got his safety, got a bow, learned how to shoot it, everything that you need to do step by step. And then a couple of weeks ago, he finally got a chance to go out on his first hunt in New York. I think he went upstate New York, I believe, went hunting. So we linked up again, and I wanted to find out how it went. He told me about it, so that is what our podcast is about. So without further ado, we're going to roll sound and let you guys listen to my conversation with Mr. Cliff Cadet from Urban Archery NYC on the BLCP, the Bryant Land Country Podcast.
Bryant Land.
Man, Cliff, welcome back to another fresh, updated episode of the Bryant Land Country Podcast. Man, I was sitting in a blind this morning, trying to get a little deer hunting, trying to make something happen myself. And during a quiet time when nothing was going on, I checked Instagram, as so many of us do. I don't care what you say. We all do it when there's a little downtime between activities or between things going on during the hunt. And I checked Instagram and I said, look, my man been out. He got out in the NYC. He went 2 hours away and got out there and tried to make it happen. And I was like, man, let me see if I can follow up with Buddy and see how things went, man. I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, man. Well, how was it?
All right. Well, first, man, thanks for having me back, bro. I appreciate it. You stuck to your promise too. You said it the first time I was on. You was like, the minute I've got stepped foot out in the field, you was gonna have me back, and you did. Literally a day later. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But dude, it was an experience, man. A learning experience. Because it's one of those things, like, you can plan all you want, but things ain't always gonna go your way. Because as a matter of fact, you know what's that saying? If you ever want to hear God laugh, tell him what your plans are.
Right.
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So it was just that, man. It was just that. It was let's see. Started off. I don't know. I think I told you, as my hunting buddy is my cousin.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we've been planning the last couple of months to hunt, period. But over the last maybe 2.5, 3 months, I locked down this private property that a buddy of mine owns that he and his wife go up to every weekend. It's a 6-acre piece of land.
Okay.
Where the house sits on a hill, like almost, it's like a rectangular piece of land. From the road is about maybe 1.5 acres in from the road sits the house, like at the top of the hill. And then after that, it's all downhill from there. Just nothing but timber and brush. So me and my cousin the last 3 months are planning to, hunt that. I've been putting in what work I could because the property, depending on traffic, on a good day, it's about 1.5 hours away. With traffic, it's like 2 hours, maybe more away.
Yikes.
So whenever I can, I put up trail cameras, 4 to be exact. That seemed to be good enough for that particular piece of property. My buddy that owns the land actually helped me out, and whenever I couldn't get up there over the weekend, he would pull the SD cards from the camera and email me all the all the footage from them.
Wow.
So that was a big help because with work and family commitments, scouting is hard. You know what I'm saying? So what I had done was when I first put up the trail cameras, I happened to spend the weekend up there with my family and my boy's family, and first thing I did was just scout, for signs of life. Looking for trails, looking for
game trails
marks,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And scrapes and rubs.
Exactly. So I didn't find any scrapes and rubs, but all I found honestly was deer shit. I'm sorry for cussing.
No, you good.
Yeah. So all I found, is it called scat? Or is that something else?
Scat. Yeah, like deer scat or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was really all I found, and that was basically wherever I found that was at the base of trees that were dropping acorns like there was no tomorrow.
Yep.
So I placed my cameras there, and then out of the 4 cameras, 2 cameras were showing movement regularly. So my buddy saw that and he moved them for me, and then basically all 4 of them started showing movement. So that's what I was going based off of.
Okay.
Lockdown, over the last couple of months, lockdown, what gear I was using. I committed to using, a tree climber.
Now, how is that? Because I caught a little bit of your video, and I think you were just like, basically you need to kind of like go back to the drawing board as far as like, just getting a little bit more proficient and just getting a little bit more comfortable with it. How did that work out? When you bought it out, that was the first time you climbed, or what? What?
Well, yeah. Well, it was. Let me put it this way: I made the rookie mistake of believing that. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to say it was a mistake because, truth be told, I did get a little cocky, but I kind of backed it up because I was able to do it when I got out there. Right. Because it's basically moving up. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're familiar, moving up like an inchworm. You know what I'm saying? I had my harness on. Yep. I was tied to the lineman's rope, and I had everything connected correctly. So I move up my lineman's rope, move up the seat, move up the platform. Right. Yep. And then repeat. Now, it was raining at the time. So in all honesty, I honestly didn't know if it was something I should be doing in the rain. If you know what I'm saying, because the trees on that property are tall. I mean, really tall, and provide really good cover from the elements. Mm-hmm. But because it was raining so hard, some raindrops are getting through, trees are getting wet and slick, and then I had a fear that, you know what, God forbid the teeth on the climber won't grab and it might slide down. Right. Now, I was pretty comfortable or confident that I could still go up, and I planned on it. But my cousin kind of encountered a problem. He was having a little bit of difficulty maneuvering. And then on top of that, the strap that attaches the seat to the frame was tearing. Now, I can't honestly tell you if it was user error or if it was something wrong with the product. I just didn't want to risk it with him because he's a big dude. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I made sure he got that climber because I did my research on it. I knew it could hold a good amount of weight. Granted, the amount of weight it could support, it was way more than what he weighs. But being that, you know, I'm kind of, I think I've invested a little bit more time in research and learning over the last 6-7 months than he has.
Gotcha.
So I kind of felt, I don't feel like I was mentoring him or anything like that, but I kind of felt responsible for him, at least safety-wise.
Yeah.
You
You err on the side of caution and better safe than sorry. So no, I totally understand where you're coming from there, because that's the thing. Like, I took my climber out for a little bit and just kind of monkeyed around with it, you know, and even the first couple of times I didn't go no higher than like maybe like 5 or 6 feet. Like, it was just like a comfort thing, like just playing around with it. And I'm behind the 8 ball because I was supposed to do it over the summer. So by the time deer season kicked in, you know, I'd be proficient at it and be ready to go. But the learning curve, I think, just from working at the little bit that I've been working at, the learning curve is not that steep. And, you know, once you just practice and get comfortable with it, then, man, I'm looking forward to it, because I'm just looking forward to the versatility and being able, being able to work a climber.
Yeah, well, not for nothing. Like, I believe I got comfortable with it real quick, because at first, like, I set my cousin up with his climber, and I was like, "You got this?" He's like, "Yeah, I got this." So I went, set up my climber, because what I did was, like I said, I wanted him close to me for safety reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had him set up in a tree about 10 yards from me. Right. I had him. So, and this was around basically kind of like setting up an ambush spot, if you will, where if in either direction, if the does came through, the does I've been seeing on camera came through, one of us, you know, could get a good shot.
Yeah.
So I had him about 10 yards from me, and so he was set up. So I got into my climber, set it up. I got up about 10 feet when I realized he was having trouble. So I climbed back down, right? And then tried to help him as best as possible. Once I thought he was good to go, I went back again, got up about 10 feet, realized he was still having some issues, came back down again. So I did this like probably about 3 times, going up and down like that. So which is why my level of comfort was there. But the things, I never got to get above like 10 feet because I was trying to help him out. And then, you know, we figured out there was some kind of tearing somewhere. So once we saw that there was an issue with the climber, you know, he was trying to be cool about it. And he was like, "You know what, I'm going to take the climber down, and I'm just going to post up on this tree, and you could sit up in your climber." And I was like, "Nah." I was like, I wasn't gonna let it rock like that. You know what I'm saying? It either both of us were gonna be up in a tree, or both of us were gonna be on foot.
Gotcha.
So now, with it pouring on us like that, I honestly couldn't remember what I had learned in terms of deer movement in the rain. Right now, what I normally would have done was I would have done like a quick Google search right then and there. But the area that I'm in, I have no cell phone or data signal.
Right.
So that's another reason why safety was paramount for me. So so I was like, damn. I was like, for some reason I had thought, I'm like, you know what? There's not going to be any movement with the rain coming down as hard as it is. So I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, let's take the climbers back to the truck, and then just go from there. Right. So now, while we were at the truck. All right. Actually, you know what I'm saying? I'm wrong. I'll tell the story wrong. There was 2 occasions. First, we had before we found out there was the problem with the tree climber, because it was pouring so hard. What we did was we removed the seats, left the platforms, and decided we were going to head back and try to let the rain die down. That's when I got like 1 bar and was able to Google that deer still move in the rain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, all right, so let's do that. All right. We buckled down to just like, you know what, F it. We're just going to deal with the rain. If the deer are moving, then so are we. So went back to the spot. That's when we went through the issues with figuring out that his climber was damaged. And that's when we were like, I'm not going to lie, I was getting frustrated as hell. So finally I was just like, yo, all right, if you're not in the climber, neither one of us are in the climber, let's go back. All right. So now this is the second time we're going back to the truck, this time to drop off our climbers. As we're walking back to the truck, we're walking maybe about 30 or 40 yards away from this one spot where the trail camera shows a lot of deer movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin's trailing behind me like about 10 yards, and he was trying to get my attention, but I didn't hear him. And when he finally caught up to me, he's like, yo, he's like, there was a doe right there by this spot. He goes, it spotted me and ran off. I was like, all right, fuck this. I was like, you take my climber, put it back in the truck. I'm going stalking, because it wasn't a spotting stuff. I didn't spot it. So I asked my cousin, I was like, which direction did this doe go in? He pointed, and I just started walking. So started trailing this doe where I thought it might be headed, because I was assuming that there was a trail that they were walking between these two spots. Like I said, these two cameras that were showing the most movement over the last couple of months. So I basically, real slow, what normally I guess you would know would be like a 5-minute walk, took me like almost 30 minutes, maybe longer, to walk like real slow, like trying not to step on any twig. Because what was dope was the rain coming down like it did moistened up the leaves. So it wasn't like it was for me like a week or so ago when I was walking through that same property and the leaves were crunching like Doritos.
Right. Softened it up a little bit.
Exactly. So the only thing I was worried about were the twigs, because that doesn't soften up. Those things are still cracking and breaking and making noise like crazy. So I walked this trail that I'm assuming these does are walking over back to that spot that we were originally trying to set up our climbers at. So I get to about like maybe 20, 30 yards from there. And to be honest, I did not see this doe. Talk about camouflage, bro. Yeah, like, I did not see it until it saw me. Like, literally picked up its head, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Looked at me and just hopped away. All I saw was this right behind, hopping away. Like, out. I was like, son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I just did all of this. I was within like 20, 30 yards of this doe. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, what was really cool was I honestly played the wind. The entire time I was walking, the wind was in my face.
Okay. Yep.
I'm creeping, I'm moving slow.
Yep.
Wind is in my face. So I don't think it smelled me. But then again, like I said, you know I'm the rookie here.
It was probably the move. It's probably your movement, like you say. It spotted your movement, and it was just kind of like, okay, something's not right here. And then, the least little thing, especially if they're on, high alert or whatever, they're gonna take off. But I mean, so that's just par for the course. But how was your cousin during all of this, like with all the different things going on and stuff? Was he just as frustrated as you were, or was he kind of chill, or what?
Nah, I think he took it in stride because mainly, all right, so kind of backtracking a little, like I had planned my goal was to be on the road by 3 a.m. All right, I told him I'd be downstairs outside his apartment building by 2:30 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mapped it out. I was like, with no traffic that early in the morning, hour and a half, to get up there. So I was like, 2:30 we get up there, bring down any gear we need to bring. 3 o'clock, be in the car, be heading up to where we need to head up to.
Right.
I get there 2:30, man. I bring some of my hunting clothes upstairs to transfer to a bag. I do that. I'm watching my cousin, man. He's trying on his harness for the first time. I was like, really? I love my cousin. He's like a brother to me, but I had to bite my tongue at that point. Like, I didn't say nothing.
Right.
Then after he does that, he's messing around with his climber for the first time, strapping on the seat, and then he's walking around looking for stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, right? So then we do that, and just to give you an idea, I got there at 2:30. We didn't leave till 4 a.m. Yeah, so
I've had those trips though. I've had those trips. I mean, That happens. That's one of those things, like you say, you just kind of, you live and learn. Like, all right, look, we got to, the organization has got to be organization's at a premium here. The better that you're organized when you get up in the morning, you just give yourself that much more of a chance. Because, I mean, I've gotten, had it gone on hunts where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to get my rest, and then I'll just get up and pack in the morning, and then I oversleep, and then it's just, it's like a snowball. It's just all downhill from there. So it's just one of those things, like you say, when you go through it, you just kind of look back at it like, okay, now we know.
Yeah, but you know how you just said it snowballs. It got better. It got better. So check this. So we get to the spot, we park up, right? And we start getting changed, we start getting dressed. We get our camo on, the whole nine, get our bows out. Adam, he forgot his broad hedge. Yeah. Like, again, I know I'm not painting my cousin in a favorable light, but it's funny. It's funny now. I'm not gonna lie. It's funny now. Right. So he forgot his broad hedge. So luckily, I had 6 arrows ready to go, all with broadheads on them. So I took off 3 broadheads. I gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew the one thing I knew about his arrows were they had 100 grain field tips on them.
Okay. Yep.
So the reason why I'm using the broadheads that I am is because they shoot like field points. So it shouldn't have it wouldn't affect his shooting. So I gave him 3 of mine, and so I rocked with 3 arrows, broadhead tip arrows, right?
Right.
So now I'm thinking we're good. Turns out he forgot his quiver. So I was like, yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So then that was before we even got to the spot with our climbers. That's what happened before that.
Oh,
so man. and that was basically it. Then that happened with the climbers. Then like I said, I went on that little spot and stalk. More stalking, like I said, because the deer spotted me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't spot it. It ran off. I stayed in that spot. Took a knee. Posted up against a tree and just waited for a little bit. And then about 45 minutes later, I hear crunching behind me. It's my cousin. So he was trying to catch up with me, but I know if I heard him, coming up behind me, any deer in the woods would have heard him as well. So right after that was by about 10:30, 11 o'clock. One of the cool things was that they say, or I've heard it said a lot, like if you're not doing an all day sit, you know what I'm saying, if you're doing a morning and afternoon sit, the best time to come down from your morning sit is to wait for the wood to kind of settle down, the forest to settle down.
Right.
And honestly, I kind of heard that. You could hear when it wasn't as much noise, as much commotion going on. Kind of like, it felt to me like the early hours were kind of like rush hour for everything going on in the woods.
Right.
Then in the middle of the day kind of slows down. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, once I felt that and I felt comfortable with that, which was around like 11, I was like, let's get out the woods, go grab some food, which we did. And so we were gone for a good amount of time, and then we came back and just sat in the car. Now, the thing about the property is my buddy has neighbors. And yesterday, at least in New York, I don't know about anybody else, but the last Monday and Tuesday were Jewish holidays.
Right.
So kids are home
kids
are home from school. So some parents are home too. So I'm trying to be as quiet as possible, driving up. I'm making as little noise as possible when we're opening and closing the doors, because there's a dang dog at the neighbor's house that's just barking his head off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be like, a ninja with it, being as quiet as possible. So now it's about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and like it was overcast all morning, well into midday, like no sun out whatsoever. And it was pretty cool, like 60, 70 degrees, nothing crazy. All of a sudden, sky opened up, sun is beaming everywhere. And I'm not going to lie, Adam, the first thing that I thought of was thermals. I was like, the sun is beaming right now. This air is going to get warm. It's going to get hot.
Yeah.
And the air is going to go up. So I was like, all right, let's be, quiet with it. I was like, I told him, you're going to go here to this spot, take a knee, and just listen, just look, and just pay attention to anything. You see movement or whatever, you see it go, you get a shot, take it. I was like, and I'm going to go over here to this spot. I'm going to do the same thing. I was like, we're both going to stay in our spots and not go any place else until about 6 o'clock, 6:15. All right? Because the truth be told, in New York State, you can only hunt till sunset.
Right.
If I'm correct, some cities and states give you till, you can start as early as 30 minutes before sunrise,
Right,
and as late as 30 minutes after
to sunset. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
New York State, I don't believe has that. It's only sunrise to sunset, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So I'm in the process of trying to find another meat processor, but the only meat processor I was able to hook up with and, trying to establish something, dude closes at 7:30. Like, he was adamant about that.
Oh, man.
And he's 30 minutes away from where we were hunting from. So if per se, you know what I'm saying, or we shot a deer at 6 o'clock or 6:15, got to give it time to, one, definitely die.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Then you got to make sure it's dead. Then I got to gut it. Then we've got to carry it like all the way back to the car,
Right.
and then drive 30 minutes to this processor. So I already knew, you know what I'm saying, like there was no way even if we got a deer at sunset, that we were going to get it to this processor in time to take care of it. And the thing is, we're an hour and a half, 2 hours away from home. So I don't have a refrigerator at home or freezer or refrigerated locker to keep it in. Picture me trying to come home, my little 2-bedroom apartment. What's my wife going to say? Where's that going?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Trying to gut a deer in there. Yeah. No.
So time necessarily wasn't on our side. Now, speaking to some other people today, I realized I should have stayed in the woods till at least the sun went down. You know what I'm saying? Just to get that experience and seeing the light go away and so on, see what low light looks like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I had a rookie mistake being I had thought if there was no, like, if I can't shoot anything after 6 o'clock because I won't be able to get it to the meat processor, then I might as well just get out of the woods. But now, knowing what I know now and speaking to the people that I did today, you know what, I kind of see the light. I have a better understanding of, you know what, especially if you're in a stand or a climber, don't come out. So whether you killed anything or not, or whatever your circumstances are, don't come out of the woods till the sun goes down.
Yeah, and I mean,
So,
and those things aren't like absolutes. Like, you know, like I try to get in before, or try to get in, you know, while it's still dark and before sunset. You know, it's really cool to get in and then just get settled, calm down, and then just listen to the woods come alive and the lights as it coming up, and you can hear the owls and the crows and, you know, all different things and stuff going on. And then at the end, you know, my thing is always just safety. Like if I'm in a blind, then yeah, I'll push it. You know, the sun will go down and I'll still have a little bit of light or whatever to walk out. Or if I'm in a stand, you know, just trying to come down, you know, just make sure you got enough light to see. Same thing with a climber. I mean, I don't know how much you want to push it and then be trying to climb down in the dark. So, I mean, all those things are good. They're good, you know, rules of thumb. But I think as you found out, you know, with your experience, you know, once things start kind of happening, you just gotta have to adjust and then just do the smart thing and then do what's right, you know, for safety and what's going to work for you.
mm-hmm.
So when's the next time you're going back?
So, my wife permitting, I should be out there again. I should be out there again Sunday morning, trying to do a morning sit. Because I really want to see or get an idea whether or not the deer are moving. Because all right, so here's the deal: my buddy is having family over that weekend, so they should still be there in the house come Sunday morning. Now, the thing is, they go up there every weekend, and my trail cameras have picked up movement even when they're there on the weekends.
Okay.
So I want to see if it's feasible for me to actually hunt during the times that they're not. I mean, during the times that they are there on the weekend. So I was just thinking about that. So like I said, it's family commitments aside, if I can get away early morning Sunday, then I want to get out there Sunday morning. But a funny ending to the story though, for yesterday's hunt is that we pulled out of the driveway to head home, and we're driving down the road, literally maybe about 50 yards from the driveway entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was that doe standing on the side of the road, bro. Straight mocking us, just looking at us as we're driving by.
Y'all come back now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's
you know
hilarious.
What it was like? You know what it was like? It was kind of like the Roadrunner and the Coyote. It's like,
right.
Just like adding insult to injury. But all in all, it was an awesome experience. Like, it was a learning experience in terms of the logistics of it and planning, what to take, what not to take, how to set stuff aside, your gear and everything like that.
Yep.
And then like, I swear, like, I was watching the weather forecast for like a week, and I had no clue that it was going to rain the way it did yesterday. And so that was unexpected. So my goal now, honestly, out of everything that that I dealt with yesterday, it's that I want to get. I felt comfortable with my climber, but I want to be nice with it. Like, I want to be ill with my climber, where I can get up and down like with no problem. You know what I'm saying? And then I guess I gotta work on my stalk, like just moving. You know what I'm saying? Moving with purpose, because that's one of the things I definitely picked up yesterday was squirrels were pissing me off, man. So, like, every time I heard, there was these two squirrels in particular, bro, chasing each other around the woods. It's like they were playing their own little game of tag. And every time I heard something.
Yep. There is not a hunter alive that hasn't had their issues with squirrels. When you go squirrel hunting, you can hardly find them. But as soon as deer season starts, they're going back and forth in the trees, swinging off branches, breaking twigs, and you never knew such a small animal could sound like such a big animal. But
exactly. But what it taught me though was to kind of move with purpose, because what happened was I realized every time I heard something, I was jumping, like I was turning my neck, like, you know what I'm saying? And then I realized, I'm like, you know what? If that really was a deer though, I would have given away my position with the way that I was, jumping and turn around and look what, wherever that sound came from.
Right.
So in that last hour, so with that last hour, I heard a noise. I'd slowly turn my head, slowly turn my body. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kept my foot, like, if I was standing, I kept my feet exactly where they were, so I wouldn't, mistakenly step on a twig or anything like that, or rustle up some leaves. And, I'd turn, to see where that sound came from, and then slowly turn back. So that was pretty cool to learn as well.
Right. Yep.
But,
yep.
like I said, a lot of takeaways, man. Just for that, one day, I can only imagine how much more I'm going to learn, as the season progresses.
Do you feel good about it? Because, like, I was looking at your video, man. You could tell you were a little, like you said, you was a little upset or whatever. But, like, once you kind of calmed down, got out the moment, and, like you said, looking back at it, overall though, you feel good about it, right? You're glad you finally got out there.
Yeah, man. It's like, what do they say? It's like a bad day in the woods is better than a day at work.
Yeah, I saw somebody put that. Yep.
And I can now relate to that, because it's true. Because granted, it's private property and there's a house, over yonder and whatnot. It's those woods at the back. It's like I felt like I'm in a forest. You feel me? And it's like there's hills, there's a cliff I can go down, and it's like I'm out in the forest. I'm out on public land or something like that. Like, that's how I feel. I was away from the hustle and bustle of of the city, of my job and whatnot. Granted, I miss my family. Like my little man, he's 7 years old, and when I speak to him about what I'm doing, he wants to come with me. So now it's hard because I'm still trying to figure it out myself, but I want to get him out there too.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just to at least sit there with me and watch.
Yep.
So as I'm trying to learn everything, I'm also trying to figure out a way to get him out there with me. So it's you know what I'm saying? It was just dope, man, just to get out there. And it's one of those, like, I'm trying to figure out, somebody called it a drug. And it's like, honestly, I honestly feel like I'm trying to figure out, when am I going to get my next hit? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's definitely how it is.
So, you know what I'm saying? So granted, in the moment, I was disappointed about how it turned out logistically. I was disappointed in, in the weather. I was disappointed in getting spotted by this doe. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, this animal has evolved to survive being around us. You know what I'm saying? Its sole purpose is to live.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To keep from getting shot by us or eaten by us, whatever it is. So it's evolved. It's hearing, its sense of hearing, its sense of smell, the whole nine to be able to get away from us. So the fact that it got away from me wasn't a hard thing for it to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I might as well have been out there with pots and pans clanging, you know what I'm saying, announcing my presence. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not, granted, yesterday I was disappointed, like I said, with the logistics of it and it getting spotted. But then today I'm able to sit here and talk about it and laugh.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I bear no ill will towards my cousin. Granted, I wanted to probably strangle him yesterday, but today I'm able to laugh about it. And I learned, you know what I'm saying? I know what to do, what not to do, what did work, what didn't work, and so on. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a cool experience.
Is he gonna go back? No, I'm sorry. Is he gonna go back out with you when you go back out?
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie. On the way home, I was like, I'm not going back out with this dude. But I'm like, but the thing is, though, that's my bro. That's my brother. You know what I'm saying? That's
right.
It's one of those where, you know what, I put in a lot of time these last couple of months, and you know what, if I could pass on what I've learned with, to him, then I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But it's one of those, there's only so much you could teach a person before you have to say, you know what, all right, I'm good. Because it was that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Right.
So you can only take them.
It's like that.
Take them so far, and then you kind of gotta, they gotta sink or swim on their own. Like, you can only take them so far.
Exactly. So which is why at the end of the day yesterday, that second half of the day, that second sit, I was like, all right, you know what? You go to this spot, I'm going to go to this spot. And let's agree we're just going to stay here this particular time, and then we'll meet back up at the car. And so that's what we did. It was one of those, I think he needed some time for himself to kind of learn a couple of things, and then I needed some time myself to just kind of soak in the woods myself. You know what I'm saying? See what I wanted to see, learn what I wanted to learn.
Sure.
From that. So, and that was basically it, man. It was really cool. It was just a dope experience. Like, I can't, like I said, I was kind of disappointed about some things that happened, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't a negative experience.
Right. And I mean, of course, you got a lot of equity built up in that thing, man. I mean, like you said, 6-7 months of just preparing and waiting and, trying to get things done and build up, and then, to get out of the gate and you kind of stumble out of the gate a little bit. Yeah, it can be a little frustrating, but man, this is a long journey, if you will. I mean, season is a long season, and just think it's just your first one. Just think, how much more you're going to have when you get ready to go into deer season next year. I mean, after you complete this season. I mean, so it's, there are worse ways to start a season. I'll just say that. And I mean, hell, I went out the other morning and didn't, in trying to turn my lights off, didn't turn them all the way off. And as soon as I opened my door, it's like ding, 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 ding. It's like, all right, well, every deer in the county now knows that I'm here. And, you know, and I dropped my keys, my cover scent, like, spilled and all kind of stuff. And then I got in the blind, sat down, and saw, like, 3 deer. So, I mean, it's definitely not always a foreshadow of what's going to happen on any, particular hunt. So, but the good thing is, as long as you keep going out and you can keep doing it, the more you're going to learn,
Yeah, man, it's all part of the process, man. I'm not quitting. I was about to say I'm not quitting anytime soon, but it's not even that. I ain't quitting, period. So it's one of those things, like I say on my little, Monday motivation rant.
Right.
It's all part of the process. Any failures, any mistakes made are just, stepping stones to, on just that path to whatever it is you're trying to achieve and whatnot.
Man, that's what's up. So what else do you got going on? You gonna do any more social media stuff while you're doing your hunts, like documenting your hunts, any kind of lives or anything like that?
Well, all right. So here's the deal. It's all right. So months ago when we first spoke, Urban Archery NYC was just a name,
Yep.
the start of a brand, I should say. So I've been working to kind of just build up that brand, constantly posting, constantly sharing my story, developing kind of a mission statement, if you will. And so I came to realization that what I really wanted Urban Archery NYC to be was a faith-based company, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Christian. Granted, I cuss like all heck, you know what I'm saying? But God knows my heart, and that's all that matters.
Ain't nobody perfect. It's all good.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So Urban Archery NYC is what I'm developing it to be, is a faith-based company that is looking to, the 3 words I focus on is engage, inform, and educate new hunters. All right.
Okay.
With the focus on, people of color, you know what I'm saying? Because in the community, in the hunting community, we're underrepresented. In the hunting industry, even more so, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, with a focus on people of color and even more so people from urban areas, because truth is, the logistics of it coming from a big city, man, it's hard, bro.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I get off of work, like, you know what I'm saying? I work 10, 12-hour days. So ain't no way in hell that I can get out of work and go out in the woods and start scouting. There's no daylight when I get out of work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't finding no rugs. I'm not finding no scrapes. So I'm hoping that, one, by sharing my journey, I'm going to make things a little bit easier for other people trying to learn. And what I'm also trying to do is not even my whole state, but just my city, is identify areas that are lacking for new hunters. Because I'll give you a perfect example. In my own journey, I found that it was hard to find hunter safety courses, bow hunter safety courses, the classes you need to take in order to get your license. They were barely being offered in the 5 boroughs of New York City.
Mm.
So what I did was I applied to be an instructor. And I've actually, fingers crossed, there's an environmental conservation officer is coming to my home on Friday to interview me, because it's part of the process of becoming a hunter safety instructor.
Oh, wow.
So I figure I've identified a problem. Let me be part of the solution. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, in my borough, in my city, the hunter safety classes are few and far between, and that's in the 5 boroughs. I don't really know, because to be honest, the hunter's ed class, I had to go outside the city to go take that. Then for the bow hunter safety, actually, it was actually in my borough. I was able to find one. But like the ones that they offer in Queens, in Brooklyn and whatnot, they're usually like 2-3 months apart whenever they offer them. Now, Long Island, which is in the city, is further out east. They offer them like maybe every month at a different spot. Like 1 or 2 every month at a different, like at a gun range and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in New York City, there aren't many. Well, you know what? I'm lying. You know what? There is a hunter safety class that is offered every month in Chinatown in New York City.
That's right. That was the one I saw you post about it, but it's done in Chinese, right?
Yeah, exactly. So every month, these cats are running the class for their own people. You know what I'm saying? And I feel them. It's done in Chinese and whatnot. I think Canada needs to be specific, but it's specifically for them. So hunters who speak that language, who read and write in that language, can take the course, which is so dope. But I want to be able to open it up to the entire city. So
right.
So yeah, like I said, I applied to be a hunter's ed instructor. I got an interview with an officer, a conservation officer, this Friday night, which is pretty cool. And hopefully everything goes well. I'll be able to offer, the next step will be trying to lock down a spot. And then come next year, I'll be able to start offering these classes and whatnot.
Man, that's dope, man.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. The other thing is I'm trying to set up something kind of like what the Illinois DEC is doing, or I believe the organization is Illinois Learn to Hunt. I know I think I got the name ass backwards. I'm sorry.
But no, I know what you're talking about. It's like a learn to hunt program.
Exactly. Yep. So that's the other thing is they were really dope, really cool about sharing their information about all their classes. So they blessed me with all that info. And fingers crossed, a lot of late nights I'm trying to put something together, whether it be a workshop or whatever. And it's not something that I'm creating out of thin air because I'm far from a seasoned hunter. So whatever information I share, like even being in hunter's ed, I'm taking information I've already learned that comes from a textbook. So I'm literally teaching something that's already been written. So which is why I kind of went out on a limb to do that, because it's something that's already been written and I can just teach from a book and help somebody get their hunting license.
Right.
Now, this Learn to Hunt thing is, like I said, the Illinois Learn to Hunt program, they were kind enough to share this information, and hopefully I can take that and implement the same thing here in New York City. You know what I'm saying? And or at least put it out there and offer it to those who are new to hunting, because there were a lot of guys and gals that were in my hunter's ed class and the bow hunters safety class that were like, oh, who you going out with anybody? Where are you going? What are you doing? Have you heard about this? How do you do this? What about field dressing? Like, these were all questions that had nothing to necessarily do, or had to do with, hunter's ed, but I know they wanted more in-depth learning. And that's not what was necessarily in the class. The class focused mainly on safety. You know what I'm saying? Which I totally understand, but people want to learn certain skills like how to field dress, a deer, how to field dress an animal, period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Granted, the hunter's ed class covers it a little bit, but I've heard of workshops that sometimes bring some kind of game animal and actually walk you through field dressing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's something like that. Like I said, I'm identifying where my city, not my state, my city is lacking in terms of supporting new hunters, and I'm gonna do my best to address it, man.
Man, that's what's up. That sounds like you got some really awesome endeavors, and look at you already, setting stuff up for the next person behind you, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man. So now, are you gonna do another season of your Instagram Live as well?
Not Instagram Live, but thinking about going your route and developing a podcast. What I'm hoping to do is, because what happened was with Instagram Live, I was limited. I was limited to it being a live format. I was limited to the 1 hour time limit on Instagram Live.
Right.
I was limited to, it was difficult to kind of record and then put the content on YouTube and stuff like that. So what I've been doing is I kind of doing some research who I'd want to interview. A lot of people I've already interviewed, like yourself, I'm hoping to have on this second incarnation of When the Hunt Calls. Basically, as like I said, a podcast. I mean, listening to cats like you, and other podcasts like I've listened to, it's kind of inspiring. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I could do this. It kind of keeps the same flow, same feel as the Instagram Live, but put it in podcast format, because then it's more like, I think I'd have more. So what I'm looking for, it would be a lot. I have more flexibility in terms of, interviewing guests, recording conversations with them, and then editing and then getting it out to the masses.
Yep.
So I'm putting it out there right now, brother. I'm be more than honored if you be, when time comes, if you be willing to be one of my guests on the podcast. Yeah.
Hey, the only thing you got to do is just make the call, man. It's nothing but a word.
I appreciate that, fam. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
It's you know what? One of the greatest things about deciding to hunt has been, coming across people like yourself, many, many, many others that have been just so supportive.
Yeah, man. You got a fan base that's growing, and people that want your content, and people that want to, learn or understand, or may even be living vicariously through what you're doing. So, man, I'm happy for you. You're doing great stuff, bro. It's good stuff.
I appreciate that.
Man, I know it is late and you have worked a full day for the United Parcel Service. So before I get you out of here, just tell people where they can find you, where they can find all your YouTube stuff. Let folks know where to get at you, man.
All right. So I post heavily on Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram at Urban Archery NYC. Yo, hit me up, like, follow, share, all that, and then some. I'm also on Facebook, Urban Archery NYC as well. Twitter, same handle, at Urban Archery NYC. And I'm also on YouTube, same thing, Urban Archery NYC. YouTube is kind of defunct, but look for more content coming soon. A lot of that content addressing probably some issues new hunters are having in regards to, regulations and things like that their DC or DNR might have, and how to kind of navigate it. So again, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Urban Archery NYC.
Awesome. Cliff, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to come through. And like I said, whenever you get ready, man, just let me know, all right?
Man, thank you for having me, man. And I appreciate, again, all your help, all your support, and just being available, whenever I have a question too.
Bryant Land.
All right, now one more time for Cliff Cadet, Urban Archery NYC. Thank you again for coming on and catching us up to date with what has been going on since we talked to you last. Remember, go back and listen to earlier episodes, or should I say the earlier episode with Cliff, and then obviously the one that we just finished. So glad to see that he's out there. And that he has started his season. Hopefully before the end of the season, we will have Cliff talking about, getting a deer down there on the ground. Before I get out of here, I just want to say to you guys, BryantLandCountry.com, BryantLandCountry.com, one-stop shopping for everything Bryant Land, merchandise, podcasts, videos, everything is on the website. BryantLandCountry.com. Make sure you go, stop by, check it out, pick up some merch, tell a friend to tell a friend. That is going to wrap up episode 40 of the Bryant Land Country Podcast. Once again, I cannot stress enough, thank you for helping us get to 40. We are marching on to 50. I think we will have at least 50 episodes done by the end of the year, somewhere close, maybe. I got to look and see how everything's going to line out. But at any rate, we got to 40. We didn't know if we would get to 40 when we first started. So thank you again for continuing to support our podcast. Make sure you come back next week for another episode of the Bryant Land Country Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Bryant Land Country Podcast, hosted by AB3. Please leave us a positive review and 5-star rating on iTunes. Be sure to check out our podcast section on our website, BryantLandCountry.com, for previous podcasts. Check us out on Instagram at Official Bryant Land and Twitter at 3BryantLand. This has been an AB3 Media production. Join us next time for another edition of the Bryant Land Country Podcast.